In the last video, we added jumping to our player. The jump works, but it might feel a bit floaty and not very satisfying. In this video, we're going to fix that. We'll be adding a fall variable so that the speed of the fall increases based on the distance. And we're also going to add a jump variable so that if you just tap the space key, it'll just make a slight hop. But if you hold down the space key, it'll make a larger jump. Let's start with the faster falling. Right now, our gravity is always the same whether the player is going up or coming down. But in most platformers, falling is actually faster than the rising, and that's what makes the jumps feel very snappy. So to do that, we're going to add a fall multiplier. In the top of our script, I will add another header to make it more readable, and I will call it better jump. And I will add a serialized field, which will be a private float, and I will call it fall multiplier. And for now, I'll set it to 2.5f. This value controls how much stronger gravity becomes over time when the player is falling. And now we need to apply this in the code. We will scroll down and we will create a new method. I will call my method handle better fall. And we will check in an if statement if the rigid body dot linear velocity dot y is less than 0. Then for our rigid body dot linear velocity, we want to add a vector2 dot up, so just shorthand for writing vector2 0.1 times physics 2D. We can use that again because it also has a built-in gravity variable, acceleration due to gravity, dot y times our fall multiplier times time dot fixed delta time. And let's just shortly break this line down. First, we check if the player's y velocity, so if we're moving on the y-axis, is less than 0, meaning that we're moving downwards. So if the player is moving downwards, we apply extra downward force by adding more and more gravity. So physics 2D dot gravity is already negative, so multiplying it by the fall multiplier increases that number and thereby increases the downward pull. And we multiply it by time dot fixed delta time because this will run in fixed update since we're handling physics. So now we need to call this method inside the fixed update method. Inside the fixed update method, underneath move, we will call the method handle better fall. Now let's just try to save that script. And now when we play the game, you might notice that when the player drops, it drops much faster. Even though this is a small distance, you might also notice that the speed is actually increasing over time and the jump already feels way better. But we can improve this even more because right now every jump is the same height and that doesn't really feel great. In most platformers, if you tap jump, you'll do a small hop, but if you hold it down, you make a bigger jump. So let's try to fix that. If we go back into our player controller script and at the top of the script, also underneath the better jump header for me, I will add a new serialized field. It will be a private float, and I will call it low jump multiplier. I will set this to 2f for now. We can always change it later. And this controls how quickly the player is pulled down when they release the jump button early. For this, we will create a new method. Underneath my handle better fall method, I will create a private void handle variable jump. Inside the method body, I will create a new bool called released jump early, and I will set this to my rigid body dot linear velocity dot y is greater than 0, and then I will use the AND operator for handling multiple conditions, and player controls dot movement dot jump is pressed. Notice the exclamation mark meaning not, and then if release jump early is true, then we set the rigid body linear velocity by adding again vector2 dot up timed by the physics 2D dot gravity dot y multiplied with the low jump multiplier multiplied by time, and this time is dot delta time since we're registering inputs. So let's just break this down. First, we check whether the player is moving upwards or not. Then we check if the jump button is no longer being held. So if the jump button is not being pressed, if both of these conditions are true, then it means that the player released the jump button early, and therefore we apply some extra downward force, which cuts the jump short. And that's what gives us variable jump height. Now all we need to do is call this method. So since we're using time.delta time and we're talking inputs, we're going to do this in the regular update method. Right underneath the check is grounded, we can just add handle variable jump. And now if I test this out, if I just tap the spacebar, it'll be just a small hop. But if I hold down my spacebar, the jump gets bigger. Now this already feels much more like a real platformer. So now we've made two important improvements. We've made falling faster and we've added the variable jump height. These two changes alone makes a huge difference in how your game feels. And now comes your challenge for this video. Try fine-tuning and adjusting your jump variables so your jump feels just the way you want it to. You can do that by adjusting variables like the jump force and the multipliers for the fall and the low jump. There's no perfect value here, it just depends on how you want your game to feel. And if you figure out something really cool or find a really good set of values for your jump, please post them down below in the comments. But for now, that's it. We took the basic jump from the last video and turned it into something that actually feels really good to play. In the next video, we'll start bringing the player to life by adding stuff like sprites and animations. So if you're following along, I'll see you there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Thank you for watching.